My name is Ruby Hawke. I'm 44 years old. I was born in San Francisco, but raised in Humboldt County. I was raised in a very dysfunctional family, and I had kids very young. I had 2 kids by the time I was 19. I still put myself through college and graduated from Humboldt State with a business degree and an emphasis in accounting in 2008. But 3 days before I graduated, I started using drugs. And the drugs took me hard and fast. And within a year, I had lost everything, including my kids, my apartment, my car, my children. And I was sitting in jail on a felony charge. And you would think at that point that maybe that would have turned things around, but it didn't for me. And it was just the beginning of a very long 20-year drug run, which included many different rehabs, jail stints. I've been in mental wards. I've lived all over the country, hoping each time I moved to a new state that things would be better, that somehow my drug addiction would be solved. And I finally ended up in Modesto because I was in a mental hospital in Sacramento, and I found a flyer there for the Modesto Gospel Mission. And I just somehow knew that I was supposed to go there. And it was during COVID. So I wasn't able to get in right away, but I eventually made it about a year and a half ago to the Modesto Gospel Mission. And I show up there, drug addicted, with nothing, and just very desperate for help. I've burned every bridge in my family, and just everything that goes along with being an addict. So I get to the mission, and what's different this time, what finally happened for me, is that I found God, and that is really what the game changer for me was. But in this last year and a half, I have learned sign language. I started writing poetry. I'm sitting here doing this documentary on homelessness. I've become passionate about wanting to help the homeless, mentally ill. So another one of the things that I'm very passionate about is helping the deaf. So I'm very heavily involved in the deaf community. I am a member at Crosspoint, but I also go to the deaf church to help teach a sign language class. When you talk about solving homelessness, or how do we help the homeless, I think there's many different answers to that question, and it's a very complex, kind of convoluted question. But and I don't know all the answers to them. But from what I've seen, and actually what's going on right now for me is the barriers that are in front of you when you're trying to get out of homelessness. And so after being drug addicted for so long, I've built up some wreckage, and one of that things is that I have a record, and the other thing is I was in Oregon living in my car for a couple years, and I lost my license, and so I've got 9 driving on suspendeds within a short period of time, and because of that, I owe $10,000 to get my driver's license back. So try and face the challenge of finding a job. All these things kind of come into play. So the record that you have, and the and not having a driver's license, it's another barrier. And yes, it's something that I caused and that I have to deal with, but it does create a hardship. So currently I'm very busily looking for a job, anxiously awaiting callbacks, hoping that I'm going to get a job soon. And my goal is to, the mission allows you to stay there in a transitionary program, or you can stay there for up to a year and save money after you're done with the core part of your program. So I can stay there and save up money, and probably most of that money is going to be used to try and pay my license off so that I'm able to have a vehicle. And at that point, they offer graduate housing, so I can go into graduate housing at the mission, which is $500 a month, which really helps here in California. And eventually what I would love to do is to be like a resource specialist for the homeless and go around and help the homeless find different resources and services that are available to them. Although I know that there are people that do that, I think there needs to be more, and I think they need to be, and I can't speak for everyone, but I think that depending on what level of need a homeless person needs, some of them really kind of need someone to sort of hold their hand and pull them along. Not everyone is going to be their own self-advocate and say, hey, I need help, I know what services I need. Not everyone has that ability, and there needs to be someone that can say, okay, hey, this, grab their hand and say, hey, come on, we're gonna try and find this service or this referral for you.